Good morning, everyone. I'm Olivia Holaus for Boca Magazine, and it's time for a coffee break on this very rainy Thursday here in Boca Raton. We are joined by David Shaheen, trial attorney at GED Lawyers. So nice to see you, David.
Great to see you again after a year.
I know time flies. I can't believe it, but it's really great to see you. And today we are going to be talking about hurricane preparedness because we are Floridians. We are in the midst of hurricane season. But before we get into that, you shared with me your story on how you became an attorney, what propelled you on this journey. And I think it was so interesting. And I would love for you to share that with our viewers.
I'd love to. Thanks again for having me on, Olivia. I want to congratulate you on the newborn. That's super exciting. A lot can happen in a year, right?
Oh my gosh, tell me about it.
Man. Well, kind of how I got started is, my father got involved in some litigation when we were growing up. He's not an attorney, but he got involved in some litigation. And it was a case that I felt like he should have won. I felt like his attorneys could have represented him better in a very straightforward matter that he should have won. And he ended up going all the way to trial. I thought his attorneys did a horrible job trying to break down complex terms to a jury, and he used really big words and complex legal jargon and things that kind of went over the jury's head. His cell phone kept going off in closing argument, and when he lost the case, we really felt like he had been done an injustice. And I felt like, man, like if he had just had the right representation, he could have won this case. And it put us in a hole, and it was frustrating. So from there, I had this motivation where I felt like I could potentially get my dad's case back. So I went to law school. And unfortunately, when I got to my first year of law school, I found out about things about like the statute of limitations that kind of stops you from allowing you to bring a claim too late into the future. But I was already there. And, I always had this desire to represent people that couldn't represent themselves, especially against these juggernaut insurance companies that make millions and billions and trillions of dollars, that can hire the best attorneys. And who's going to represent the people of Boca Raton in our community against these trillion-dollar companies who can hire the best? So it's kind of a way to level the playing field. And that's why I love doing what I do.
Well, that's such a great personal story. And, there's always, everything happens for a reason, right? So, that really propelled you into the field of law. And so talking about hurricane preparedness, we obviously have our basic checklist: water, batteries, flashlights, et cetera, et cetera. But I think one thing that we often overlook is our home insurance, so what are some of the basic things that we should be looking into when we are getting our home insurance or when we're reviewing that coverage?
For sure. These policies, they keep making them longer and longer and longer, and they're changing them every year. So the first thing I would look for, especially right now as we're getting into hurricane season, is make sure you have hurricane coverage. Make sure you have wind coverage. I can't tell you how many policies I'll review, and I review them for free. How many policies I'll review, they don't have wind coverage. So just take a look at that first page. It's called the declarations page, or the deck page for short. Take a look. Do you have hurricane coverage? A quick way to look is, do you have a hurricane deductible on there? If you don't, that's a problem. Bring that up to your insurance agent. Make sure you have water coverage. What happens if water comes into your home, or you have a pipe burst or something like that? Do you have coverage for that? What about mold coverage? What if you don't know if there's water coming into your home? It sits, mold happens. Do you have mold coverage? And lastly, I want to point this one out. Make sure you have sinkhole coverage. I mean, we saw the horrible, what was going on in yesterday in Miami. It was horrible news. You've been watching the news. You saw the collapse that happened. It's too early to tell, but it looks like it might have been a sinkhole. We've been getting sinkhole claims coming in Boca Raton. So just check out your policy. If you don't want to read it, if it's too long, I'll take a look at it for free. I'll give you my cell phone number at the end of this recording.
Well, that's definitely, something that I'm not into reading either. So I will definitely be calling you, David, to take a look at our insurance policy. And what do you recommend as limits in the coverages? What are some, in terms of that, like what do you think is super important to have?
Yeah, for sure. You definitely want to make sure your home is insured up to its value. Okay. Your insurance agent should be able to do that. You can check the property appraiser's website. I know that with the housing market now, prices are going up for houses. So we don't know what the value is, but make sure you check with your insurance agent. Make sure they're checking with the property appraiser's website. You want to be insured at least up to the value of your home. And if you have questions about those intricate details from there, again, I'll give you my cell phone number at the end and we can talk through it. Consultations are always free. I'd be happy to review your policy for you.
That's great. And, what do you find is a common mistake that people, make when they are selecting their coverage? I mean, you kind of just touched upon that, but, what really keeps coming up and you go, oh my gosh, like, this is just something that I keep seeing.
Two things, really. The first is they're going for the cheapest insurance. They're just saying, well, it's the cheapest one. I don't want to pay thousands of dollars. I know, unfortunately, insurance rates are going up because we keep getting hit with hurricanes in different parts of our state, right? Like up in the Panhandle keeps getting hit. Unfortunately, we're handling a lot of those claims because we have local offices up there. But they're going for the cheapest insurance, and then when they find out they're going to make a claim, they don't have the right coverages. So don't just go for the cheapest insurance. And the second is you want to know what insurance company to go with. I'd be happy to tell you which ones we believe pay the best or at least are the most fair. Uh, so I'd be happy to talk. And again, I'll share my cell phone number at the end. We can talk through those. But those are the two biggest things. Also, one other point I want to make is the high deductible. If you're paying for a cheaper policy, you may get a higher deductible, but the higher deductible can hurt you as well, because if you're having a 15, 20, 30, $40,000 deductible, that means you're responsible for paying for any damages up to that amount. So if you have any questions about that, we could talk about that after I give my cell phone number. I'd be happy to walk you through any questions with the policy.
Those are really great tips, David. And, in the event that there is hurricane damage, what are the steps in filing a claim? What should I be doing? Should I be calling you first and foremost? What are those steps?
Definitely call me first. But even before that, we got to start getting ready now. I mean, it's the beginning of hurricane season. My best tip that I want to give the viewers right now is take pictures of your home now. Take pictures of them now. Okay. Take pictures of the exterior. Take pictures of the interior. If you can get pictures of your roof, take pictures of your roof. If you can't get on your roof, I know here in Boca, it's not, we all can't just jump on our roof here and walk around on it. We have great experts. We can get up there that will take pictures on your roof for you. You want to make sure that you have the condition of your property in photographic form right now, photos of your property right now, because what's going to happen is if you make a claim, your insurance company might say the damages pre-existed or they happened before any hurricane that happens or any wind event or strong winds or strong rains. And then you could say, no, I got these photographs right here. Look at my roof. It was perfect a month ago, a week ago. You can show them that interior, exterior. Then what are they going to say? It makes it a lot more difficult for them to deny your claim. But if you have any questions about your claim, the number one thing I hear all the time is, well, I thought it was under my deductible. I thought I shouldn't make the claim because it was under my deductible. I would caution on that. In Miami, what's happening now is the way the courts are reading your policy is they're saying, okay, if there's a deductible in place, you're signing up for this policy. You're saying that even if you think the deductible, that the damages to your home aren't going to be more expensive than your deductible, you still have to put that claim in because we aren't experts. The average home person is not an expert. The insurance company is. So they're saying, as they read these policies, whether it's in there or not, they're saying that you should put your insurance company on notice, even if you think the damages will be less than your deductible. So as soon as you notice anything, it's my recommendation to put a claim with your insurance company. If you want to just get a second opinion real quick, let's talk. But the longer you wait, the more likely it is that they're going to say they were prejudiced or they couldn't do their investigation in enough time.
Well, and is there a limit of time as to when you need to file a claim?
Yes. So until we have about a week until the law changes, but if anything happens in the next week, you have 3 years to make a claim from when the damages happen. Okay. So for example, it would be too late to make a Hurricane Irma claim because 3 years have passed, right? So the law is about to change July 1st, actually. So we're right in time, a week before, to 2 years. You have 2 years to make a claim with your insurance company. So look around, look for any leaks. If God forbid a hurricane comes through category 1, 2, 3, or even a tropical storm, that's about winds of about 60 miles per hour. Get someone on your roof, just take a look. Even if you don't see a leak, if you have a home watch, you have a neighbor, roofer in the area, have them take a look, just make sure, okay? Because you have 2 years. And then they would say that there's 3 years to make what's called a supplemental claim. So let's say you initially make a claim within 2 years. Let's say it's just for the roof, okay? But let's say 2 years passes. Now it's 2.5 years and you find a leak, right, in your ceiling, okay? The water's coming through now. That would be called a supplemental claim. It's like a claim that's in addition to the original claim. You have 3 years to make that. So it's
Right.
always important just to take a look around once the hurricane comes through.
Well, that's good to know because the leak is coming from the roof. So that's, those are in conjunction, and here's another question, that I've always wondered, you hear a lot of people hiring public adjusters, is that something do you need to have a public adjuster when you're filing a claim, or is an attorney perfectly fine? Do you work together? How does that work?
Well, we love all public adjusters. A lot of people like to go to public adjusters if they don't want to come to an attorney. They think it might cost more money, and et cetera. And there's a lot of preconceived notions about that. Public adjusters are great as well. They will charge a percentage regardless of what happens. So if the claim gets denied, for example, the public adjuster is going to have to go to an attorney to try and get any money on a claim. Okay, because they would have to move the case into the court system, but their percentage will still carry over even if they can't do any more work. What we'll do is if we come involved first, we'll help set up the claim. We'll make sure everything is set up properly. If they want to do an inspection, we'll be there. We'll go with them. And then we would then hire a public adjuster on a flat fee. So it'd be a few $100s, could be $1,000, depends on the scope. If it's a larger property, obviously that could be a sliding scale, but it would be a cost that we would pay for if a homeowner would come and sign with us first. We would cover that, and then we would go after the insurance company for that payment later. So we would still work in conjunction with public adjusters, whether a client comes to us first or if they go to the public adjuster first.
Okay, great. Good to know. Well, are there any final tips that you want to share with our viewers, David?
Yes. If you have any questions about your policy, if you have any concerns about whether you should make a claim, if you have any questions about whether you're covered, let me give you my cell phone number now. I'd be happy to speak to you for free. You don't have to sign a contract just to talk. It's information. Information's free. We're trying to make Boca Raton better. We're trying to protect against what the insurance company's doing and all their new crazy policy provisions. Let me give you my cell phone number now. It's 561-504-2788. Again, that's 561-504-2788. I love Boca Raton. That's the Boca Raton discount. We want to help out the neighborhood of the community, make this the best city in the country.
And that's great. We'll also put your number in the comment section, so it'll be easy to refer to. So my last question always ends up being a fun one. So since we're talking about hurricanes, if and when in the event you have to bunker up, how do you pass the time? What's your favorite activity?
Oh man, there's plenty of things I like to do. I like to read. That's my number one thing. So I've been reading book summaries. I'm kind of cheating with that. So I have a list of book summaries I have to get through. So I love reading. FaceTime in the Zoom era. I never liked the FaceTime, but I love doing Zooms now. I love doing FaceTime. Love just to stay connected with people. Our community, we're such a great community, such a great group of people here. I'm a part of a great church. I stay in touch with those guys as well. And I love people. I love connecting our community. I love staying in touch.
I love it. And if there's no electricity, right, and you can't do all of that, what's your favorite board game?
My favorite board game, I got two recently. This is a card game. I'm getting into Phase 10. I guess I'm a little late to the party. I don't know if you played that. We'll have to play sometime. It's a lot of fun. And then I love I'm getting into backgammon too. So I've been playing backgammon on my phone, but I've also played the board game with it. I love challenging games, strategy games. Have a lot of fun with those.
Awesome. Well, listen, it was such a pleasure chatting with you. So nice to see you after a year. And thank you so much for all of this incredible information. It's so good to know. And it's nice to know that we also have GED Lawyers that we can go back to and ask any questions that we may have.
Yes, no, thanks so much for having me on this. And just want to affirm you for what you're doing with Protect My Shoes on your side business. I think it's awesome what you're doing for the American Cancer Society and the cancer community. It's awesome. So I'm just grateful for what you're doing for them.
Thank you so much, David. So thank you to you. Thank you to our viewers for tuning in. It's always great to see you here on Facebook. And we wish you a wonderful day and a wonderful dry weekend. And have a great one. Thank you.